Let's bring you the latest now on a story around the border with officials pushing back against illegal crossings. They now have moved to monitor the border lines. Yesterday alone, 200 people were returned who attempted to cross to the country with no documentation. Newzroom Afrika's Nqobile Madlala is at the Beitbridge border post and joins us now. Nqobile, a lot of concerns around, of course, the traffic, and officials also speaking about an outbreak of cholera in neighboring countries. As you monitor developments, what are you observing?
Well, yes, indeed, a lot of concern around that cholera outbreak, and I think for many people that are coming in here as well, just South Africans will also be concerned about that. So the officials were saying that screening takes place on the ground, ensuring that people can be checked in terms of temperature. Far beyond that, they've got their hands full, and I want to show you just here. This is the hive of activity that's taking place now in Beitbridge, and it's very telling if you look at what was happening yesterday. Much quieter. Today you've got a hive of activity, more buses, more people coming in, officials on the ground having to speak to those that are trying to get into the country, documentation being checked, fingerprints as well being checked. But at the same time, there are of course a lot of people that are going to try their luck to come into the country. When we saw some of the officials yesterday working, they did tell us that those 200 people had to be returned, and of course that number has gone up, and we are going to find out. I want to bring in now the Deputy Assistant Commissioner to speak to us about this. How many people have you so far returned home who didn't have documentation?
Well, the numbers that, and good morning first, and welcome also to Beitbridge, and also good morning to the viewers. Yes, we have seen an increased number of refusals and where we are now, and I would not want to say that it is only for Beitbridge, but across the country we are looking close to 4,000 people now that has been refused, not having the required entry requirements for entering into South Africa. So we maintain a position that those who are not having the documents to come into South Africa will obviously not be allowed. And whether we are not finding right at the port of entry, we have multiple layers of places where we have deployed people, and they will continue be subjected to those layers further into the province of Limpopo.
And we know that you are going on the ground today to speak, to basically look at those deployments that are on the edge, on those borders. What can we expect?
Yes, so for the return phase, we have slightly changed our force employment plan. And that is what you also saw yesterday in the port, where we have dedicated zones and areas where we have realized it's of, say, vulnerability. And we have increased our force levels there to obviously improve, the security at those points. But today what we are intending to do is that because the borderline is such a critical area, and that we know that many of those who are unable to get through the port will try their way through the borderline, we are then also going to go out today and just make sure that the planned operations for the return phase focusing on the borderline is also in place. So we do also have different segments and vulnerable areas that we would like to respond to. And you might not always see our borderline, border guards as well as the South African National Defence Force across the entire borderline, because in terms of utilization of resources, it is best to just focus on particular areas within the borderline.
And once we talk about that, we know that you're not alone now. You've got company. Some of the people, leaders, have taken upon themselves to go on the ground. Tell me about that.
Yes, now we're aware of that, and it's really unfortunate. We always maintain that there is absolutely nothing wrong, that we are working collaboratively with the border communities, because they are the ones best placed in this location to tell us who is entering in the area, as well as to make use of the intelligence information that is in those areas. But when you have mobilization of people from outside, it makes it a little bit awkward in a way that there is absolutely no authority for such activities and actions, and we would like these organizations to maybe just refrain from that. But what we are doing in the meantime is, obviously we know that the area Madlala Drift remains one of those vulnerable segments, and we are responding to that reality. Sometimes in terms of our force employment strategy, it might not that we have particular presence there, But further down, we do deploy forces to intercept, actually then also to return the people. But more importantly, what we are intending to do now is to actually charge these who are transporting people with aiding and abetting, as well as impounding of vehicles. So that is the actions and the planned activities on our side.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. Well, that activity continuing behind me, of course, and quite a lot of people still getting into those buses. And we are hearing that even though you've got quite a lot that have come with the correct documentation, you've found that all around South Africa, 4,000 people have been returned because of the fact that they didn't have the correct documentation. And now they're looking into how they're going to charge those that are helping people that are illegally getting into the country. You will remember that they already said there's numerous companies that they've had to charge for having people that do not have documentation, which means that they are assisting those people to get here. And of course, they're saying that now those charges are things that they're trying to put in mind. And at the same time, they're saying that some of those vehicles now will be impounded. Of course, those activities continuing now on the ground. We will continue to watch that for you.
Absolutely. Nqobile Madlala bringing us the latest there from the Bait Bridge border post, as we will be bringing you those updates throughout the course of the day.